Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In my What is Fund Accounting video, many of my viewers have requested for the video on reconciliation. So today I am going to discuss about the reconciliation mostly. This is one of the most important process in fund accounting, and sometime there is a separate team within fund accounting who will be only working on reconciliation. So before we go ahead into the details, let's first understand what is reconciliation and why we perform this activity in the fund accounting. So reconciliation is a process where we match the stock, cash and the income accrual between the two or three parties. So who are the two parties? One party will be obviously fund accountant, and another party will be custody, and third party sometime it will be investment manager. So sometime for the trades, like for the cash and stock position, we also go ahead and do a three-way reconciliation between custody, FA and IMs. And also custody can be of two types. One will be an internal custody and one will be an external custody. So in the company where you are working, if you have the custody already there, so then it will be an internal custody where you will be using that portal to get the custody detail. But sometime for a fund it can be there that your custody is some other company who is doing the custody business for them. Then you will be getting the custody information from outside, and from there you will be doing the reconciliation. Now how it work? So I will tell you just in nutshell, and then in details I'm going to discuss about the reconciliation process. So let's say fund accountant, when they book anything, let's say they book a trade or they book a dividend, what they do is they do it based on the pre-agreed date. So if I give you an example, let's say there is a trade booked, okay, for T plus 2 settlement date. What is going to happen? The fund accountant, let's say they will book a buy on a T date, and then on T plus 2 date, what they're going to do, they are going to show that the cash moved out from the cash out. I just put it as a cash out, cash moving out from the fund. So that they will show into the fund. Or I will give you another example that there is a dividend which is going XT, let's say on 5th of September, and it is getting settled on 19th of September. So what fund accounting gonna do is fund accounting gonna show the accrual from 5th of September till 18th of September, and 19th of September they will show the dividend cash in. So that is how fund accountant will show. But what will happen for the custody side? Custody is the one who is actually holding those shares and actually getting those cash. So custody is not going to show it based on the pre-agreed date. Custody will only show when they actually get that hard cash. So let's say for this trade, the trade on the T plus 2 days, they didn't got the shares, so they didn't send the cash out. So they will not show the cash out. I will show the cash out. My cash will reduce, but custody cash will not reduce. Again, for the dividend, let's say on the 19th of September, the company has not actually given the dividend. So then custody will not show the cash received. They will still show it is in the accrual. But FA will show that I have already received the cash. So FA cash balance will move out. But actually the cash is not received. So that is also going to be a cash break. So this is how the reconciliation things work. When you will see there is a discrepancy between the party you are doing the reconciliation with. So when I'm doing this, when I'm taking during this video, I will be considering everything as a custody point of view, that if I'm doing the reconciliation with the custody, how I'm going to work. But if even if you are doing it with the investment manager or a IM reconciliation, it is going to be same. They are not going to be any difference than the custody how you are doing the reconciliation. So first, let's discuss on the cash. So let I will start with the cash reconciliation. Before I go ahead and start with it, always remember reconciliation is one of the most important part, which I actually said before also. If your fund is big, if the portfolio is very big, you will have lot of transaction on a daily basis, and you will come across lot of cash breaks, stock breaks, income break on a regular basis. It is very important that you do your research properly, and you comment whatever break you are getting, you're commenting it properly, or you're following up with a counterparty with whom you need to do the follow up. So these points are very important. Whenever there is a break, it is very important not to keep it for a very longer day, that first day you see a break and you are like, okay, next day I will see that what is happening there. No, don't do that. After 3 or 4 days it will become a backlog. You will already, next day you will get few more new cash break, stock break, income break. So if you have not done the reconciled or researched it on the day one, and if you are planning it to do it on the day two, it is going to be backlog. And in few days it will become a age break. And then you, as a fund accountant, you will be going to be into the problem. So first I will tell you what are the cash breaks and how I will just point out what are the major kind of cash breaks we see. Before that, let's say your fund is an international fund, okay, because generally I have seen most of the fund, many time it will be an international fund. So let's say it is a US based fund. So in that case your base currency going to be USD. In that also you will still have other currencies, let's say GBP, AUD, INR, etc. So you hold all these other currencies also. So when you will be doing a cash reconciliation between custody and FA, so let's say I am doing a reconciliation between custody and FA, I have to match USD cash balance between these two. I also have to match GBP, AUD, INR, and so on. So I need to see that each of the cash is matching or not. So that is how we start the process. So now, what are the major breaks we see? One of the break which I already discussed is the dividend payment break. So it is just the example what I told before also. So let's say there is a payment day for a particular dividend. On a fund accounting side, what we do is we generally know that okay, on this day this is going to get paid, and we are going to straight away process that from the accrual bucket, from the receivable bucket, it is moved to the cash bucket, and I got those cash. But in custody, they are not going to do that. Custody, they will only show the cash when they have actually received it. So we, if we see there is a break between custody and FA due to there is a dividend which is not paid out on the custody side, as a process you need to go ahead and ask custody. So there can be a predetermined time how long you're going to wait. Some companies or some team, it can be if you see a dividend, wait for 2 days or wait for 1 day and then you go ahead and query. In some company it can be okay, even if you see it straight away you go and query. So that you can do best on the what practice it is happening in your team. But you need to, after, I know, anywhere after 2 to 3 days you have to query it. You have to query to the custody or the relevant team that why the dividend is still not paid, what is happening there. So that is first is the dividend payment break. Next, sometimes so happen is the delay in trade settlement. As I said before, sometime it can happen. So my trade, I booked a trade, a buy or a sell trade for a T plus 2 settlement date. And on the T plus 2 date, on that day, I show that that is the cash has gone out, or I have received the cash for the sell trade, like that. Or I have moved the share also in accordingly, reduce the share or increase the share accordingly how the trade is. But broker has failed to actually give the share to the custody. So custody will not give the cash unless and until they get the share from the broker. So in that case, that will remain as an unsettled trade in the custody books. So I will be having a break there. Okay. So in those cases also, you need to go ahead and check with the custody whether custody is following up with the broker or not. Because all these reconciliation breaks, always remember what I have seen, it's all how it will get cleared depend on the how much follow up you are doing as a fund accountant. It is very important. So that is one of the job as a fund accountant, that whenever you see a break, you need to do a follow up on every 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and we need to keep chasing, we need to keep sending chaser emails, and we need to get it done. The more you chase, the more counterparty will chase, and then only the work will get done. So this is also one of a very common uh, cash breaks we see. Third, another very interesting and common cash break is a currency contract break. So there can be a scenario. I'm giving just example. Let's say the fund is, as I said, it is a US based fund, and the IM is deciding to buy a some share of GBP. So what IM has instructed is from the USD, you move some current, some of the USD, let's say $1,000 USD to GBP. They want to move it. So how they're going to do? They want to book a currency contract. So they have instructed it. I am supposed to instruct it between fund accounting and to custody, but they missed to send it to custody. So then what you're going to do? You will book the currency contract correctly, and it is, let's say it is going to settling after 3 days. So after 3 days, when it's settled, you see that your USD balance has gone down and your JBP balance has gone up, but custody side it is still not reflecting. That means custody missed it. So then it is based on the practice. You need to see, either you need to reach out to IM stating that please instruct custody to process the currency contract, or you need to straight away send the same instruction to custody to process the currency contract. One way. Now I will tell you a next break which we have always seen, which is a FX rate break. So that is going to be generally, I will give you the example based on the continuation of the prior example what I have given. So let's say IM has instructed it on after 2 days. Let's say you book the currency contract on 5th of September, and IM missed to send it to custody, and then they send it on 7th of September. And custody gone ahead and booked the currency contract based on 7th of September FX rate. What is going to happen then? You booked the currency contract based on 5th of September, and custody has booked it on the 7th of September. So you will have a FX rate difference for those 2 days, and when the currency is settled and when you get the settled cash, you will see there is a minimal difference because of the FX rate. So even if it is a minimal difference, you need to go ahead and talk to custody. Either you will be reaching out to IM to ask them to talk to custody, or you can only go ahead. So that process, how you are going to research and how you are going to reach out to your counterparty, that differ from team to team, company to company, process to process. So either, anyways, you need to inform custody that the FX rate what is used is wrong. Please use the correct FX rate, and then they will be correcting it. Your cash will be matching. But there is another side of it also. Okay, always I am telling that okay, custody is wrong and I have booked it. There are scenarios can also happen that, let's say there is the instruction came and you booked it, but you took a wrong FX rate. That can also happen, human error. So you took a wrong FX rate and you booked it. When custody settled the cash, then you see custody took a different FX rate. And I have seen, I'm telling you, I have seen this kind of scene multiple times. Custody booked it in a different FX rate, and as a fund accountant we are so confident that okay, whatever I did is correct, we don't even go ahead and check it. We say custody to correct the currency contract, and we leave it. We didn't went ahead and check whether what I have done is correct or not. Many a time I will see what I have done is wrong and what custody have done is correct. That is when I need to correct my currency contract, right? So these are the things which sound small. You do a day to day life also, it becomes small. But if you don't clear those currency contracts, or if you don't clear those break, that is going to backlog, and that is going to pile up, and that going to end of the 1 week it is going to become a huge one. So I will always recommend everyone, please give time to the reconciliation. Sit, take some time, clear your reconciliation break. If you are clearing your cash rec, stock rec, income rec properly on a daily basis, your fund will be clean, then your valuations will go smooth. And even if your fund is a monthly fund, so I personally, when I have done many funds where the valuation will be only once in a month, I will only once in a month do the NAV valuation. Still, every day I used to personally sit and do all this reconciliation. I never used to keep it for a next day or too many days, because that is going to end up troubling me only. So this is one of the cash rec break. Next, sometime there can be a asset difference happen. Let's say you have a particular security which is set up in fund accounting system as a USD currency, but in custody system it is set up in AUD currency. It can happen. So suppose the fund has given dividend, so in your fund, in your system, you will show the dividend in the USD currency because the setup is in USD. But in custody side, they are showing the dividend in AUD currency. So what will happen? You will have some cash high in USD and you will have some cash high in AUD currency. So that with them you need to connect the dot and you need to see why there is the difference happening. And then there can be again how you are going to resolve this break is going to depend on what is the best practice in that team. Sometime we go ahead and book a dummy currency contract from USD to AUD to match it with custody. Sometime we go ahead and settle it to we just change the settlement currency and move it into AUD and then match it with custody. Sometime there can be a possibility custody book a dummy currency contract to move everything to the base currency. So depend on what is the best practice into the team, that is what is going to happen. But always research. When you see there is a break in two different currency, don't straight away and just comment it, okay, there is custody to book. Sometime it so happen we only see one side of the picture. So you see there is a USD break, there is a dividend came in USD currency, okay, and you see that dividend is not processed in USD on the custody side. You just commented telling that custody to process the dividend. Okay, custody has already processed the dividend in AUD currency. You didn't check that. And you will be keeping the bake. Let's say sometime we go ahead, proactively we go ahead and start questioning custody why it is not paid. You send out an email on day one. They come back after 3 days that okay, we already process it. You again go back setting that where you have processed it. 3, 4 days, 5 days is gone in that, and then you come to know okay, it was sitting there for AUD. That you get to know after 7 days. It is already a aged break. So that's why always look, always check whether it why there is all the currencies you check. Sometimes there will be two views of it. If you would have checked it on the day one that you have a payment in the AUD also, you would have already settled it. So that's why I am always emphasizing on this. Reconciliation is one of the very important part of it. Another one very important point is corporate action breaks. So sometimes there can be some corporate actions, like let's say for a dividend there is a reclaim. So reclaim will be always future settled, or there can be a tender, or there can be any other merger or any other, let's say, cash receivable, which we don't know when they're going to give it. So reclaims we don't know when they're going to give, or any other something like that. So when we process that corporate action, or when corporate action team is processing that, they will be doing it for a future date. Okay, maybe sometime they will give the settlement date even 1 year after. Let's say today they are doing, they will give a settlement date for 2023. So after let's say 3 4 months, you got some cash in your fund. You see that custody is showing some cash. Don't blindly go ahead and post the entry. It is very important to understand, first of all, understand what transaction they have processed. Check that transaction. Go and see for that security if there is any reclaimed already booked and it is into the receivable bucket. So if you are not doing that and you are straight away going ahead and booking that entry, you are double accounting it because you have the same amount in the receivable bucket. So this is also one of the point and very important. So that is why cash rec or stock rec or income rec, these things sometimes takes time. It actually, as a fund accountant world, if you see, reconciliation is takes most of our time to do the research and to understand why it is, comment it and clear it. But again, it is very important. Last point which I saying is the expense. There are cases when we will be seeing the expense instruction. Some of the time the expense instruction directly comes to the fund accountant and the custody at the same time, and there are cases where the expense instruction will be only sent to custody, and when custody processes we get to know that okay, there is an expense payment, and that time we go ahead, reduce our accrual and process the expense payment. So these are the common, I have given the cash breaks what we see during doing the reconciliation. There are multiple other cash reconciliation breaks you can get, but I can tell you one thing, the doing the cash reconciliation is not at all not only cash reconciliation, any reconciliation is not at all difficult. What you need to do is any reconciliation when you do, let's say if I give you an example of a cash reconciliation, how I used to do is I am doing it, let's say, on a day one. When I do day one, first I see the prior day. If fund accounting cash and custody cash is in line, if they are in line, so that means my prior day everything is in line. Then in day 1, what are the entries which are settling today? So let's say there are trades, there are dividends, income, and there is capital activity. So all these monies are coming. Then what I used to see, I used to take the whole lot of it. Okay, these are the cash which are settling today. And then I used to go and check in the custody books that okay, all these are matching. I used to do a line by line reconciliation. That is called line by line reconciliation. Okay, I have 10 trades in my fund, 10 trades in custody side is also matching. Done. Then what is the dividends? I have, let's say I have 3 dividends coming, custody side also 3 dividend coming, matching. Done. If that is not matching, sometime I see custody side also there is a dividend but it is not matching, mine is showing something, their side it is showing something, then you go and research. If you do like this, then you will be able to understand and you will not miss out anything. So this is all about cash reconciliation. Next time I will be doing another one video on the position and the income reconciliation. So keep watching. Thank you very much.